Tonight, a story you will see only here on 2, a high-speed rail in New York State. It has, of course, been talked about for decades now, but there's never been a formal plan until now.
The state DOT quietly released a report last month that took 14 years to complete. 2 on Your Side's Nate Benson has been looking over the 250-page report for several weeks now. And Nate, what does the DOT want to do?
Mary Alice, the DOT prefers to build a $6 billion rail system across the state, and not to spoil the story for you, it's not even high speed. The New York State Department of Transportation is speeding down the track on making upgrades to the Empire Corridor. If you're not familiar, that's the primary passenger and freight line that crisscrosses New York State. The agency released an environmental impact statement in February with the approval of the Federal Railroad Administration. That report was 14 years in the making. Critics of the $6 billion plan, like New York State Senator Patrick Gallivan,
it just doesn't make sense to me.
Worry it could be a financial train wreck. DOT's study considered 5 proposals. You can read them all on WGRZ.com. The state's preferred plan, called Alternative 90B, calls for 273 miles of new track between Schenectady and Buffalo. This third new rail line would run parallel to the freight rails Amtrak currently uses. The new track would allow trains running between Niagara Falls and New York City to reach a maximum of 90 miles per hour, but only in designated areas. Hardly fast enough to be considered high-speed rail, which the industry recognizes as 110 miles per hour. Still, Alternative 90B would cut roughly 90 minutes off the ride to the Big Apple, from 9 hours to 7 hours 36 minutes. Senator Gallivan is a member of the Transportation Committee in the Senate, and his big complaint about the high-speed proposal:
This cost $6 billion. For what benefit? Slightly increased ridership?
is that it would operate at a loss of tens of millions of dollars each year.
Over $30 million a year on the backs of taxpayers. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But Gallivan's colleague on the committee, Chairman Tim Kennedy, calls it a great investment for upstate New York and generations to come.
I want to move fast. I think communities across the state want to move fast. I would say within this calendar year, we're going to be formulating that public hearing and bringing the stakeholders together and work in a very aggressive fashion, as aggressively as we can be.
But even if this project was greenlit today, it would take 25 years before it was finished. Again, we have details from this report posted right now on our website. Scott?
Nate, let me ask you a quick question. You talked to some lawmakers about this report and their plans to have some public hearings this year, but what about the Department of Transportation? What did they have to say about this plan?
Scott, the DOT refused multiple requests for an interview for this story. They only gave me a statement, which I did post on our website as well. I asked very specific questions, which they did not provide answers for in an email exchange. I also reached out to the governor's office to find out what her stance is on this project and the proposed project. She hasn't spoken publicly about high-speed rail really since she took over as governor, only about metro lines downstate near New York City. So again, we really don't know at the state level what officials really think about this. Reporting live from downtown Buffalo, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.